If you're not in an English-speaking country, it can be difficult to find native English speakers to practice your speaking skills with. But here's a bit of a secret. You don't need native speakers to practice speaking English. We're often told that the only way to improve speaking skills is by having a conversation with others. But actually, there are lots of ways that you can improve your speaking without speaking to other people. In this video, I'll give you a bunch of tips how to improve your English speaking when you don't have a speaking partner. Talk to yourself. This was my secret weapon when I was learning Portuguese. When I was in the shower, I used to imagine myself in a bunch of everyday situations. At the grocery store, the movie theater, the bank, a cafe, and so on. Then I would have a full conversation with myself, from both sides, all in Portuguese. Hello. How can I help you? I would like a coffee, please. Would you like milk? Yes, please, and sugar. People would have thought I was crazy, but that's the beauty of doing it in the shower. There's no one there to judge you. I found this a very useful way to guide myself to words that I didn't know. Maybe I'd want to borrow a pen from the cashier, but didn't know the word for borrow. Or maybe I'd want the receipt, but didn't know how to ask for it. It also helped me feel more comfortable when I was actually in a grocery store or a cafe speaking Portuguese. Talking to yourself is a great way to practice speaking and identifying gaps in your vocabulary. All you need is your imagination, and maybe a private place where no one can see you. Shadowing. Shadowing is another powerful way to improve your speaking and sound more like a native. With shadowing, you basically listen to an audio text, like a podcast, stories, and repeat what you hear slightly after you hear it. What this does help you notice and imitate the rhythm and pitch of native English speakers. It helps you form muscle memory, so that you get used to making English sounds, and later you can speak more fluently, without thinking about how to say things. You can shadow with any audio, even Netflix or YouTube, but podcasts work especially well for this. If you are a beginner or low or intermediate level, you may also benefit from reading the transcript as you go. If you are at a more advanced level, just listen to the audio and try to say what you are hearing. Record yourself. Again, this is a great one. You can do this by yourself. Record yourself speaking. You might be having a conversation with yourself, or simply practicing the pronunciation for a difficult word. You might even send it as an audio message to a friend of yours. Recording yourself is great for a few reasons. It is a bit easier to compare your pronunciation to your ideal accent if you listen to them side by side. If you record yourself saying, laugh, and then check to see how close it is to laugh from Google Translate or dictionary.com, you can better appreciate the difference. Another benefit of this method is that you can see how much you improve over time. A friend of mine is Brazilian and is now fluent in English. She said that she still has some of the voice memos she made of herself speaking English years ago. She said that she can see a huge difference between how she spoke before compared to now, and she finds that very motivating. Start a podcast. Why not record yourself even further and start a podcast? That's what our friend Daniel did when he started his English in 2016. He created it as a way to practice his English speaking skills, and has kept it going since. Daniel says that starting his podcast has supercharged his learning. He notes how at the beginning, he had to script everything, and even had some of it corrected by a professional translator. Now, he is much more comfortable speaking naturally, and doesn't need to create a script every time. For Daniel, the benefits have been not just better speaking, but also better confidence. Like my Brazilian friend, Daniel notes that recording himself is one of the best ways to see his progress. Be creative. Improving our English speaking skills can be fun if we have a little bit of creativity. Whatever fun means to you, use it to your advantage, and include English in it. For example, try sitting on your couch and looking around. Find an interesting object, and try to describe it in English. If you're just starting, you might use easy vocabulary and short sentences. But the better you get, the better you'll get at this little exercise. Something else you can try is creative journaling in English. A lot of people think that journaling is the same as keeping a diary, but it's so much more. The sky's the limit, as long as the sky is in English. Finally, try to make your own life difficult. No, I'm not crazy. Have you ever had a situation where you were trying to say something in English, but you got stuck because you couldn't remember a word? Do that on purpose. Try to talk about something without using specific words. It's like a real-life game of taboo, but you make the rules. In other words, be as creative as you want, and use English all the way.